Hello again. I sometimes think that people watching this channel believe that must spend my whole life sitting like this in front of a laptop. Not a bit of it. I only film for about 15 minutes a day. And since I hardly ever sleep these days, that gives me at least 17 or 18 hours other activities, such as earning a living. I do this partly by writing books, but also things like acting as a consultant to television programs and films. The two main subjects I'm regarded as an expert in are capital punishment and firearms. Because I write so many westerns, not just in my own name, but also under pseudonyms such as Harriet Cade, Fenton Sadler, Ethan Harper, Jade Clanton, Jethro Tull, Jack Tregarth, and other, even more improbable names, I have to be very careful about technical details in my books, especially those which involve firearms. I'm always irritated to see schoolboy errors in the depiction of guns in Western films, and these are amazingly common, even in classics such as Clint Eastwood's films and those of John Wayne. I thought I'd talk a little about this subject and show what I mean by demonstrating on some of the items from my collection. Before going any further, I must assure viewers that the weapons and ammunition I shall be using are all inert, deactivated, or dummies. Let's look at two clips of film to which I give links in the description to this video. The first is from The Good, the Bad and the Ugly, regarded by some as the best Western ever made. It is, however, littered with silly mistakes. The use of dynamite to blow up a bridge is one such. The film is set during the American Civil War and dynamite hadn't even been patented at that time. Anyway, look at that first clip. It shows Clint Eastwood in a hotel room loading a pistol. And the pistol he's using is this, which is a Colt Navy 36 caliber. Now, the interesting thing about it is that he showed loading it with brass cartridges of this sort. I don't know if people can see this. Yeah, you've seen them, but he's shown putting the cartridges like that into the chambers of the gun. This is ridiculous, and I'll explain why. Ordinary cartridges consist of three parts. There's a brass cartridge here, there's a copper jacketed thing there, and just here you can see a little cushion cap. It's filled with fulminate of mercury. That's modern ammunition. I mean, at one time, bullets were made like this, or made from a mixture of lead and antimony. This is from a Martini .455 rifle, the sort you see in Zulu, but they're not nearly as effective. They tend to mushroom. Anyway, when you look at the gun in that film, you will observe that it has this bit in front of it. So, and yet he's using brass cartridges. What is this, do you suppose? It's a ramrod. This is actually a cap and ball pistol, and it's called that for the very simple reason that when you're loading it, you use caps and balls. It's a single action weapon. You can pull the trigger as much as you like, and it won't go off. It has to be cocked first, so it's perfectly safe. To load it, you don't use brass cartridges at all. You cock it, half cock it so the cylinder can be turned round. Then you use a powder flask of this type. This one has a handy gadget to measure out a certain amount of powder, and you load it thus from the front. You put the charge of powder in, so then you put a little bit of lint, and then the ball, and a bit more lint. Then this thing is actually an integral ramrod, you see. It would be no use at all if you were using cartridges, but because it's a cap and ball pistol, the use of the thing. And then here, on these nipples here, little brass copper caps filled with formulated mercury. It's a cap and ball pistol, and the truth is that Clint Eastwood looked utterly absurd tending to load it with brass cartridges. The second clip of film is from True Grit, the John Wayne version, not the later one made by the Coen brothers. And he appears at the climax. The clip of film shows the climax, the so-called gunfight in the meadow. And what John Wayne is using is one of these. This is a Winchester Yellow Boy. Yeah? And he's shown doing the most extraordinary things with it. For example, this weighs 9.5 pounds, and John Wayne is shown holding it out at arm's length like that, using it almost like a handgun. Now, I can just about stretch out like to arm's length. Anyone that's fired a heavy caliber weapon like this, I used to do a lot of 303 shooting at one time. If you don't hold a rifle that powerful, that close to your shoulder, if you hold it loosely, the recoil is going to bruise you like that. If you fired it like that, held it like a pistol at arm's length, you're going to end up at best with a dislocated wrist. He also does some really weird things with it. For example, to cock the weapon, you use that lever. So, and he's shown holding it in one hand on a horse, holding onto the lever, and then flipping the weapon round and round in order to cock it, which is literally impossible. Trust me, we've got a horse, and I've experimented on horseback with all these weapons just to try to see if I can firstly emulate some of the stunts that you see in westerns like True Grit, but also when I'm for the technical details of passages in my novels. If I say, for example, let me demonstrate again now. There's a thing called the road agent roll or the Missouri spin, in which you offer to hand over your weapon like that, and then you flip like that, and it's ready to aim. I read about this a lot, and I've had to experiment with it to see if it was feasible, which it is. There's various other things. If I write a passage saying that someone has a pistol tucked in the back of their belt, and I say he reached back and cocked the piece with his thumb, I do that first to see whether it's actually possible to do, which it is. Anyway, I just thought that it might make a pleasant change for people to see some of the other things that I get up to. I know that there are rumours that I'm a couch potato. There was a fellow that had a channel devoted to attacking me. He routinely used to say I was a couch potato. Just because I don't have films of myself sitting around on horseback, trying to cock a Winchester with one hand, that doesn't mean that when I'm not here, I'm simply sitting like that, like a robot with the batteries removed. Anyway, I hope that this proved of some interest to viewers. Normal service on the usual topics will, of course, be resumed tomorrow.